So a warm welcome to the final part of the What Would You Do series. And as you can see, we've brought in a bit of a ringer, a person who knows this lake really well. We brought in Alex because we didn't do too good on the last shoot. Rick got a really nice one. I took a blank. So Alex, tell us a little bit about this venue, where we're at and what type of fishing we're going to be doing here.
Yeah, so we're at Buzzard Valley. It's around about 1 acre. It's in the Midlands, so Tamworth. And you can do a bit of everything, to be fair. So yeah, anything goes really on this lake. It's mostly sort of far margin fishing on the whole. I fish it mostly in winter. When the sun's up, it's mega for a floater. Yeah, and there's some absolute stunners in here. The biggest is around about 37. But yeah, there's loads of like nice scaling mirrors as well.
Nice stuff.
First impressions for me, I've only just got here, haven't I?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit late to the party as such, but a bit of traffic on the M6. Anyway, you said it's an acre in size.
Yeah,
what I'm quite interested to ask you about is the depths. I know you briefly touched on that, but with it being an acre, you said it actually is quite deep, didn't you?
Yeah, so basically it's sort of split into two halves. So this end of the lake, 4 and 5, so that in the middle you're looking around about 13 foot, and then sort of from swim 3 up until here, in the middle it's 9 foot. But you've got quite sort of shallow shelves, but they're not super steep, so you can fish on the shelves, you know, it's not an issue.
Nice. And the bottom, you said it was clay?
Yeah,
mainly
so
clay?
Tiny bit of weed in the margins, nothing, just a tiny bit of Canadian, and then yeah, mainly clay, bits of gravel. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward fishing, to be fair.
Nice.
Okay, so if you haven't seen one of these films before, as you can see, we've got some boxes of bait. We get a sticker on the front giving us a clue as to what's in the boxes, but we do not know what's in the boxes. Alex has already said he knows what he wants, but he's not told us what he wants. So does he know something we don't? I don't know. There's some new ones to the game. We've got Big is Beautiful, presuming 20 millers, 22 millers, big baits, and micros, guessing the opposite. Upper layers. Now this one we've talked about on each of the 2 films that we've already done, but none of us have actually dared to do it. And we've got boilies and another new box, which is powders. So we've got a real range of different type of, and I'm doing this now and I haven't even thought. What are you reckoning, Rick?
Mate, I've just set up, so I hadn't even really thought about what box I'm going to go for.
I don't know what to do, but the thing is, if we do fish the far margin, you can walk around. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, you can walk around and bait.
So
up,
okay, so that makes things a little bit easier if we're fishing tight to that far margin, because we can wander around and drop our bait on the spot, so to speak. So without any further ado,
I think we should get Alex to tell us what he's getting first.
Yeah, I think Alex should tell us. Come on, Alex.
No pressure, mate, but like you said, you didn't want to tell us until the video.
You're going to think I'm absolutely mental.
Right.
I'm going for the upper layers.
Right.
Well, lovely. Someone's chosen the upper layers box.
The upper layers box has gone.
So I fished it yesterday, this lake, and I had 2 off the top in these conditions.
Ah, right,
so,
okay.
In that corner there, just under those little lily pads, and tomorrow's meant to be brighter, so
right.
I'm going to take it. It's a big risk, but if I blank, it's quite a nice blank.
Yeah.
Because I've took the risk.
The thing with upper layers, yeah, obviously during the daytime, I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of floating baits in there and some zig stuff. You can fish zigs on a night as well, so you're still kind of fishing. You're not as, you'd want to be on the bottom on the night, but you can still fish through the night. So I suppose you've got that. Right, so I suppose, Rick, I'm looking for a stone. It's between me and you as to who goes next.
Okay.
Right.
Right, okay. Let's go with that one.
Bingo, you won.
I've won something for once, I can't believe it. Right, okay, so Alex, you've gone for the upper layers.
Yeah, there's boilies and powders there.
Those 2 boxes to your left have actually been with us since the start of this series, so I feel like I should probably use one of them.
Yeah.
I haven't baited heavily for a while.
No.
To be honest, so I think I'll go for the boilies.
Going for the boilies?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Like I say, them boxes have been with us since the beginning, haven't they? So, one of them's got to be used.
One of them's got to go, hasn't it?
We can't keep using the new ones.
Yeah, well, we gambled last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Probably didn't do too good on our gamble, all things considered. So Alex has got the upper layers. You're going for boilies. That leaves me Big is Beautiful, micros, or powders. Powders sounds good as well.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It's just a bit. I'm not sure. I'm going to go micros.
You go small.
I'm going to go micros. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to fish little hooks. If what's in there is what I'm thinking, I'm assuming small pop-ups or small wafters. I'm going to fish little hooks, small bait particles. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All three shoots that we've done, so the previous 2 lakes we've been to, the weather started off like this. Yeah. Which is why we kept saying maybe not about going on top, but last session the weather started off like this, didn't it, Vin?
Yeah.
And then the next morning they were all just under the surface.
It came really sunny, didn't it?
And we was like, oh. But luckily we had some buoyant hook bait, so we sort of thought a little bit outside the box. And I actually went onto zigs and I managed to nick one, didn't I? And then you did as well.
Yeah, and I lost one.
And you lost one. So we improvised a little bit, but we kind of had to really, based on the conditions.
I think today's a write-off for me, but tomorrow I'm hoping I can make a couple.
It's going to be brighter tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. So as we stand now, Alex is already here. As he said, he fished last night. So we're not going to move Alex. So Alex is in the left-hand swim. We're kind of going to divide the lake into 3/3. So Rick and I will draw for the middle swim and the far end swim. And as the rain's just about to start, we'll probably get our boxes, get into our swims and open the boxes up and see how we're going to tailor our fishing.
Wicked.
Looking forward to it.
Let's crack on. Right, okay, so as Vinny said, myself and him still need to decide where we're going to be fishing. Alex is just down the margin here on the left side of the lake, essentially. It's only 1 acre in size, so we've sort of split it into thirds. We've got this central swim, which is just behind us, and then we've got the swim at the other end of the lake, which sort of has a bit of a bay as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, we need to choose the swim, don't we? So I'll grab another stone this time. You've got to choose where it is.
100 fish in here, mate. We shan't be far off them. I'll go there, mate. Hey!
I'm on 2 in a row.
I've lost them both.
Oh, God, Vin. Well, actually, you won the last one, so I think this works out quite fair.
Yeah, really. I won both on the last one, didn't I? I won the draw and the bait and blanked.
Well, hopefully that don't happen for me, but anyway. Right, okay. So you're fishing micros, I'm fishing boilies.
Yep.
I've got my boat today.
Okay.
Which I rarely use, but I think it would be quite nice to sort of get under some of them overhanging trees with it potentially. So
sweet.
I'll go down in the corner.
That means I have less room to travel to my swim.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
You go in the middle, yeah?
Yeah, well, Alex said he's seen them across that line anyway, so I'm happy. I'm happy in here. Yeah,
cool.
All good.
All right, well, that's that. We're going to get our gear out the van and hopefully get stuck into some.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So Rick and I have drawn for our swims and we started to get our camp set up. The only thing left to do was to open our bait boxes and see what products we'd be using on this 48-hour session.
Right, so yeah, it was what I basically thought it was going to be. So I've got some 11mm floaters, beta stim ones, 11mm, so they'll be perfect. Some of the smaller ones as well, in the same, so 6mm. That's my surface fishing sorted. Oh, perfect. So we've got some salmon oil as well. That'll create a really nice slick on the surface if the wind picks up.
I have a 5 kilo bag of Secret 7, and they are the 15mm baits. I've also got our matching Secret 7 Hydro Spod Syrup to go with that, so I'm going to coat those baits in this.
So the first item I've got are the Beta Stim Mini Mix pellets. Tiny little pellet, keeps the fish on the spot for a while because there's so many tiny little bits. And exactly the same, I've got a kilo bag of the crayfish mini mix. So they're the Beta Stim ones, these are the crayfish. So I'm gonna have a mixture of flavors in my mix with loads of tiny little food items. So happy with those. And I've got a bag of bait. And they are 8mm. They are the Bug 8mm shelf life boilies. So yeah, loads of things I can do with these. I can fish a few whole, crumb a few up into a bag. I'm definitely going to walk around and scatter some of these over my spots. So hopefully they're going to draw some fishing for me. So yeah, plenty to work with there.
Oh, perfect. So this is actually what I caught those 2 fish on yesterday. So I'll be using these for hook baits, both for zigs, sort of trimming those down for zigs. Yeah, and trimming them down for obviously on the top. And then what have we got? So I'm guessing this, yeah, cloud mix, so I'll probably coat some of the floaters in that, and I might even make a little bit of a ground mix for the zigs maybe, so ball them up and just walk around and underarm over the top just to create a little bit of a cloud. So yeah, well happy with that box.
And then hook baits wise, I have 2 options which I'm pleased about. I've got the Secret 7 dumbbell wafters, and I've also got the 15mm pop-ups, the same flavour obviously. This is all Secret 7. So yeah, quite a lot to use there on the boilie side of things. So now I need to think about what rigs I'm going to use.
Oh, I've got a liquid as well. I've got a small tub of bug liquid food and I've got 2 fluoros. Okay, so the first one is the raspberries and they're in 10mm, and the next one is the milky malts in 10mm again. So I've got 2 10mm pop-ups to play with. We'll see, I'll have a play in the margins with my rigs, see what I can do with those. But yeah, super happy with that, really good bait box.
So I'm just about to get the bait ready for the session, of course, so yeah, I'll quickly talk you through what I'm doing. So first off, I'm just going to take the 11mm floating beta stim pellet, and yeah, around about half of those. So yeah, the 11mm are a brilliant little pellet, super attractive, and of course with most carp being reared on pellet, floating pellets just miles better than dog biscuits, I find. I've had loads and loads of fish on these, fishing on the top. So yeah, majority is going to be the 11mm. The next one, and I'm not going to put loads of these in because I do find they can just become obsessed with them, is the smaller ones, the 6mm floaters. But I do like them in the mix, but just not too many. So just literally a couple of handfuls. And then after that, I'm just going to coat them in a little bit of salmon oil. And as I said previously, basically what this does, it just creates a nice flat spot if the wind's picking up. And it can also basically draw them up as well. So not loads of it, just a little coating. Just give that a mix up. And then yeah, the final thing is just a small handful of the cloud mix. Now, some of the ingredients of this, they basically move up and down the water column. So with it being a little bit cooler, hopefully those fish that are sort of 2 foot under the surface, some of the ingredients will sort of pull down and hopefully draw them up to the top. And a couple of handfuls, you don't need loads of it. And basically, that's what the mix looks like. So all those little bits will sort of float up and down the water column. You've got the larger ones, which are carp, which is the same size obviously as my hook bait. And yeah, and the smaller ones, if they are being a little bit finicky, they'll start off on the smaller ones and then move over to the bigger ones, which makes them a lot easier to catch. So yeah, hopefully I will manage to bag one. So yeah, just underneath here, underneath the lily pads, I can actually see a couple of carp sort of just milling about, sort of minding their own business. To be fair, I'm not actually going to fish for them to start with. I think I'm just going to feed them off a little bit. And then, but right over here, there's like a big overhanging branch and the carp seem to like getting in there. So I'm going to bait up long, sort of ignore them because I'll probably disturb them if I do catch one. Yeah, and we'll go from there. Obviously, the main thing is whether or not I can get them feeding. So yeah, hopefully I'll ping a few pouches out, probably give it an hour and just keep my eye on it. And just, if we get them feeding, it's game on.
Right, so I've got my bait here and I've had a little bit of a think about how I'm going to apply this. Now, I mentioned to you before that I can walk around and bait my spots, certainly my far margin spots, and this spot under the tree I can bait with a little baiting spoon, so I don't have to worry about spotting anything out. So what I've kind of thought I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of that liquid on these 8mm. So I'm going to pour like 4 kilos, something like that. Now I'm going to save some of these for PVA bags because I'm going to be casting bags onto my spot. So now I've got that bait in there, I'm going to put some of the liquid food on, but again I'm going to save a little bit of the liquid food because I'm going to put a little bit of this in each of the bags that I do. So I have to be a little bit careful with this because I want to save some for my bag. So I'm going to pour about 2/3 of it in there, something like that. Yeah, I'm about 2/3 there. Just give these baits a little bit of a coating. And there's enough to put a little coating on each of the baits in here. And once I've got that coating on them, because I'm going to be putting it in with a baiting spoon, I can put some of the tiny pellets on these as well now, and they can have a bit of a soaking in the liquid as well, because the bug liquid food is really attractive to carp. It's something that I always do if I'm fishing bug, always use the liquid food on it, because I've done so well on it in the past. So they've got a real good soaking in that liquid now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sprinkling of both of my pellets. Again, I'm going to save some of these because these are going to be part of my bag mix, and I'll make a separate little, just on a lid, a separate bit for my PVA bag stuff. But this is fine to go on here because, like I said before, I can just do it with a baiting spoon. So I'm just going to sprinkle maybe half a kilo of the first pellet. That was the crayfish one. This is the beta stim one. Actually, I've been doing quite a lot with these beta stim pellets recently. I've been fishing them a bit at a lake close to where I live. I've been doing all right on them. So yeah, about half a packet of these in each one, saving me a bit for my bags, that's fine. And that can mix in with those boilies, and that liquid can draw into the pellet a little bit as well. And that is a super attractive mix. Now, Alex said one of the spots in front of me, there's like a blue marker on a post across there. He said yesterday there were fish showing on there around tea time, so that's naturally where I'm going to put, well, I'm actually going to put 2 rods across there. And like I said before, my third rod is just going to go underneath this tree to my right hand margin. So there we go. That's my mix, and I've kind of like got that liquid on there early, and that can draw into the baits, draw into the pellets, and create super attraction. And then my PVA bags are going to have the same, but probably a little bit more intense because I'm going to inject some of the liquid into my PVA bags. And hopefully that's what's going to get me a bite on this session. Right, so I've walked around to the other side of the lake opposite my swim. And what I've done is earlier, I've cast some leads into this tree line margin, and I found 2 spots. Well, it's pretty much good all the way down here, to be fair, but there's 2 defined spots. One of them is on this blue bag. So that's my left-hand rod is now going to be the blue bag rod. Obviously somebody in the past has marked that up, and it's really rock hard there, about 8 foot in depth as it shoots down there. So that's going to be my left-hand rod. My middle rod is going to a bush a little bit further down that's a little bit darker, so that is going to be the green bush rod. And my other rod is going to be underneath that tree just to the right hand side of my swim. So I've wandered around here, I've got my bait, I'm going to spray 2 good areas of bait over each rod, but I'm also going to do a trickle of bait in between the 2, so fish are picking up in between the 2. Hopefully that is going to draw some fish into my spots. Right, so that's these 2 rods baited now. All I have to do is go back around to the swim. I'm already clipped up for both of these spots. I'm going to pop a rig on, a little PVA bag, drop it into these spots, and yeah, we'll see what the rest of the afternoon and evening does for me. Right, well, we was just having a natter with Rick, and the rods haven't been out long, probably only half an hour, something like that. It's gone under that other rod, and my middle has absolutely melted. I don't think he's a big fish. I'm just trying to keep him off that other rod, that's the thing. Here we go. I've got my margin rod there, so I'm in between both my rods, so could be dangerous this actually, but hopefully he stays where he is. No, he's going for the margin rod now. I'll talk to you tomorrow about what rigs I'm doing. I was a little bit concerned because I don't really use 10mm pop-ups. I don't think I ever have, not on the bottom anyway. I've used them when I've been zig fishing, but I was just concerned how the rig was going to work, and obviously it does work. So at the moment this fish is in between both my other lines, and I'm hoping he stays there because I don't want him to tackle the other rods up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop into this margin. Oh, he's a little scaly boy. He only looks a double, but he's a nice scaly fish, and it gets us off the mark. And of course the good thing about this is my bait's working and my rig's working. So, because you are a little bit, I mean, obviously believe in all the products that we get given to us, but we don't know what's in the boxes. And obviously my box is working, because that 8mm bug, this fish had got straight down on it. That rod hasn't been out there about half an hour, 3/4 max. And yeah, we've opened the account on the trip and got ourselves a fish. So like I say, he's not a big one. He's a real nice scaly fish, but we're up and fishing. We've had a bite, and yeah, so we'll get the fish out, show you the fish, and we'll get this rod straight back on the spot, because like I said, that hasn't been out long, and hopefully its bigger cousin is down there feeding on the spot. Well, I was a little bit concerned. I've never fished 10mm hook baits on the bottom. I was a little bit concerned about how my rig was going to work, but I combined it with a PVA bag, and I'm pretty sure that this fish has just kind of like taken the lot, the bag and the little 10mm pop-up. And yeah, so we've opened our account on the What Would You Do series. Quite a small fish, but really pretty fish, as you can see. Super scaly one, and yeah, given us a lot of confidence that the fish are biting, because as Alex said yesterday, it wasn't doing too much this lake. So we've only been on for the afternoon, and we've managed to get a bite over a baited area as well, because I put about 6 scoops of bait, as you saw, over this spot. So this was the green tree rod. I'm going to pop that rod straight back out, and yeah, happy days. We're off the mark, we've got a fish, and hopefully one of the bigger fish of this venue is going to turn up in our 48-hour stay.
Yeah, that's lovely there. Okay, right, that's all good. So I spent about 10 or 15 minutes with my marker float, casting it over towards that reed line over there. Now, when I walked around there earlier on, I took a bare lead round there, just done a couple of casts just to see what it was like, and I noticed real quick that right close to the reed line, it's very, very shallow. It's probably about 2–2.5 foot. So what I'm planning to do is fish about a rod length and a half off of it in the slightly deeper water. I've put a marker float out there. It's about 8 foot in depth, and what is basically sloping down. So if anybody's been putting bait over there, obviously the bait's going to fall down that slope, and naturally there should be an area where carp tend to feed up against where that slope stops. Now I'm fishing at the bottom of the slope. Yeah, so that's that spot. The spot out in front of me is actually on the opposite side of the lake, and it also is in the margin. Alex gave me a little bit of info on that spot, told me that carp do like to hang about over there. So what I'm going to do is walk round there, do the same exercise. I'm going to drop a bare lead down there from the other side, just to keep the disturbance minimal. Right, so I've just come round to the opposite side of the lake to check on this spot, and I've flicked the marker float round to the left. This is the post that I can obviously see from the other side of the bank, and the spot is just to the right hand side of it. So I've flicked the marker float round to the left, and yeah, I've lifted it up, and it's just over 9 foot in depth. Yeah, I just wanted to come around here and quickly feel what that spot feels like, and then obviously I'm going to use my bait boat and drive it directly towards those 2 overhanging little branches, and as soon as it sort of creeps up just underneath them, I'm going to drop the rig, and then hopefully it will fall down onto this zone. But I haven't actually felt just yet what it feels like, so I'm going to drag it now and see how that feels. Well, it's rock solid. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to do anything else. I've flicked it around there once, and I can feel that that is solid, just over 9 foot in depth. Really pleased with that.
Now, I know I've got the upper layers pack, but I've just had an idea, and I'm thinking for the night, just on one rod, I'm going to actually fish the bottom, and I'm going to do it using the red mist basically. And all I've done, I'm going to actually fish a solid bag. So this is my solid bag rig. It's just a little Ronnie rig. Yeah, and I've just basically just trimmed down one of the candy sticks just so it sits like a wafter basically. Now the mix that I'm actually going to use is the red mist, and I'm just going to dampen it down basically with salmon oil. If I put it in dry, it's just going to float to the surface as soon as that bag disperses. So yeah, I'm going to do that now. So let's put a little bit of this in. I'm only going to do enough for one solid bag because we'll see how it goes. And then yeah, just a bit of salmon oil, give it a bit of a mix. And basically all this does, as I said, it just dampens it down, just means it's going to get to the bottom of the lake bed, and yeah, it should be perfect for a solid bag. You've got to use these boxes to your advantage. Yes, it's upper layers, but I think it just gives me the option to fish the bottom, and I'm basically going to try this just on one rod. So yeah, when that's in a solid bag, it's going to go really, really compact, and I think that will be absolutely perfect for a bite on the bottom.
So I've already crumbed up some of this S7, and you can see that there is variety of different size bait there. You've got crumb, you've got some halves, you've got a few holes still in there that didn't actually get broken up. You've got loads of different size baits that are going to hopefully keep the carp grubbing around for quite some time on the spot. But what I plan to do with this crumb is apply it to the whole boilies that I'm going to put into this bucket alongside some of the hydro spod syrup that I've got. So I'm going to put a couple of kilo of these boilies whole into the bucket. Just like that. I can add a few more later if I need to. Then I'm going to add the liquid, give it a good shake. Crack it open. Oh yeah, that's strong that is. Anyway, I'm going to pour a good helping of this over the baits so that they're completely coated. Give it a little shake so that all of the whole boilies are completely coated in the liquid. Now, to be honest, they're good as they are, to be honest. There's a lot of attraction there with that hydro spod syrup around the baits. But to add some extra attraction, I'm now going to apply the crumb over the top of the bait a little bit at a time, and all of that crumb and those smaller particles of boilie are going to stick to the whole boilies. So yeah, just give it a little shake again, and as you can see, all of that crumb has started to stick to those baits. And yeah, like I say, there's going to be loads of different sized baits out there for the carp to grub around and eat. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of crumb in this pot. I might actually break up a few more from the bag, because I also want to put some of this into some mesh bags, which I'm going to be fishing on one of my rods. I think I'm going to keep it really simple, just fish a simple wafter rig with one of the wafters that I've got in my bivvy. And then I'm just going to attach a small mesh bag with some of this S7 crumb on it. My middle rod, which is the one to the other side of the lake, is going to be fished probably over that mix in that bucket. I might go with a pop-up on that one, so use one of the S7 pop-ups that I'm also using on that rod. And then the third rod, I'm still having a little think about that, but I'll let you know what I decide to do. But yeah, for now, I'm going to get this bait out onto the spots, get some rigs tied up and get the rods out there, because we're losing light.
So yeah, the rod that I put the solid bag of the little cloud mix has gone with the yeah, the little trimmed down crayfish come on. Yeah, the little crayfish hook bait. It's not big, but she'll do. Days. Well, that's a good start. Well happy with that. She will do. So she is probably, yeah, the smallest fish in the lake and certainly the smallest one I've ever caught from here. But yeah, that box gives me the option to fish bottom baits as well. Yeah, that little trimmed down candy stick, the crayfish one with a yeah, basically just a cloud mix in a solid bag, sort of dampened down with salmon oil. So yeah, really, really happy with that. It just get, like I said, it gives me that option of yeah, fishing on the bottom.
I think I've got a fish on here, Rick. Right, well, I had a really weird bite on the middle rod again, and he's come to the margin quite quickly, and we're just looking at it. And I didn't know there was a grass carp in here, but apparently there is a grass carp in here, and that's the fish I've hooked. So hopefully he's about ready for netting. He's not gone mental, which is a grass carp. I'm saying that, here he goes. Which is like a grass carp thing, for them to come in pretty easy peasy and then go mad under the rod tip, but he's not. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to net him and get him away from these other two rods, because if he wipes these out, I'm in a mess because it's dark now and I probably won't hit my spots as well as what I did during the daylight hours. Well, there's a turnip for the books. There he goes. That's a grass carp. Right, let's get him in the net. He's gonna, I knew he was gonna do that. Is he off it? He's off it, nice. I think if I can just get over that rod with this. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. There we go. Bingo, we got him. Well, I did not expect that. I didn't know there was any grass carp in here. I believe there's only one, and this is him. Yeah, it was bizarre. When it came up, I thought, what's that? I thought it was a bream initially, and then I thought, it's not too big for a bream. And then I realised what it was, but yeah, a 26-pound grass carp. So hopefully he's going to behave himself, because they do have a bit of a reputation, these things, of kicking off a bit in these situations. So I'm not going to hold him for long, just let you see him and then we can get him put back. Not the intended species, but hey, you take what you get on these trips, I guess. And yeah, another one on the bug. Well, good morning. Eventful night.
For some.
For some, yeah.
Yeah. Grass carp.
I didn't even know there was a grass carp in here, mate.
Yeah, just the one.
So yeah, bite started. What time was the first one? It was just going into dark, wasn't it? Probably about 8 o'clock, something like that. Yeah. And then you had one, didn't you?
Yeah, I had one at 9:30, a small one.
On that cloudy bag.
Yeah.
Kind of like
semi-cheating, not cheating.
It's not cheating.
We're using the ingredients.
It's using the ingredients, and it's been, you know, using your initiative. You thought you was better on the bottom, and you figured out a way to do it. So, so yeah. Then the grass carp came, and then I don't know what time it was. It was still dark. I had another one about 12, 13 pound, all on the middle rod, all on the green tree. So the green tree turned out to be a bit of a winner, didn't it? But I'm amazed your middle rod didn't go, because you're just a little bit further down from where I was catching from.
Do you know when you just get those drops and you just think, yeah, that's definitely going to go? That's what happened yesterday. I see the, I put a little bit of rig foam on there just for like extra sort of peace of mind, and it popped up perfectly like where I expected it to. So yeah, I thought that rod was going to go, but I didn't even have a bleep last night. So I think I'm going to have to change something up. I've seen a bit of fizzing out in front of me, so I've moved what was my left rod, like that was fishing close in yesterday, across on my buzz bars, and I've just cast to some of that fizzing this morning, just on a little wafter, one of the S7 wafters, and a little sort of mesh bag of the crushed up S7, which I was using yesterday. So same tactics, but just moved to the fizzing. That's all I've really done.
And you had a few in the reeds to the right corner, didn't you? So that might be worth investigating for tonight if they stay there.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They were boshing out, weren't they? A lot last night.
Yeah, I heard a couple sort of come out over in that far corner. But...
So your plans, I'm guessing, the control float's coming out. It's going to be sunny today. This is your day, isn't it? We're not putting any pressure on you, Alex, but this is your day.
Yeah, pressure's on, so I'll probably give it another couple of hours. I'll probably go over and feed them pads just to give them a little bit. My only concern is the wind. Hopefully it doesn't switch and doesn't blow too hard, because my floaters will end up in your swim and they'll start feeding up there.
And you'll be getting a zig out.
Well, that's the thing, you've got like a sort of flat spot at the moment, haven't you, where you're going to go and do that surface stuff, so it works quite well really. And I've got that wind, the wind sort of starts just past you, Vin, doesn't it? So I've got it sort of hammering down into my corner, so yeah. You should be able to get them going. I reckon it's the right weather, isn't it?
I came close to it. I was saying to you guys yesterday, so I was just over there in the corner, and I was literally like 2 foot from the bank, took my hook bait, and I was about to shout. He said, I'm in, and then it just didn't, nothing happened.
So bad when they do that.
It evaded you.
Yeah, it did.
So I think I'm going to have a bit of a quiet day, to be honest, because I think my swim's more of a night thing. I've not really seen anything happening during. There's been a little bit of fizzing in mid-water. I might just pop a bag on that and leave it for the day, but I'm kind of confident that that middle rod kicks off again tonight. I'm hoping it does. So it would be nice to get, because we've been a bit unlucky on the fish sizes,
We've been really unlucky, really.
So it would be nice if we can pick up one of the 20s and possibly one of the bigger 20s, because there's plenty of them in here. So that's the plan for the day. We'll get some breakfast on and get cracking.
Sweet.
Let's do it. So I did see a little bit of fizzing in mid-water. Actually, I saw a fish show there as well. So that kind of like made the decision on how I'm going to approach the day. The right-hand rod is going to stay under that tree. The bailiff came round yesterday and he said that can do daytime bites, so I'm happy with that. Now these 2 rods, all I've done is I've just dropped 2 bags in mid-water and just with a catapult just sprinkled a few 8-millers on them. I've slackened those lines right off so the line's pinned down on the deck. And if anything comes through, I'm going to get a little bit of indication on the buzzers. But for now, I'm going to talk to you about what rigs I've been using on this trip. Now, 8mm hook baits is not something I've done. I've used them on zigs and I've done all right with them on zigs, and I've actually fished, you know, when I'm fishing on the top floater fishing. So I have used them a bit, but I've never used them on a bottom bait or a pop-up rig. So how I chose to approach it was, I didn't actually want the bait to pop up. I wanted the hook to sit flush with the bait just sitting above it. And it's a little bit unorthodox, I guess, but I've figured out a way of doing it that kind of works for me. So what I've been doing is I've got a section of the coated hook link in 25 pound now. This is the stiff one. So once the rig's completed, I have to steam these. And I'm using the stiff because I'm fishing a really flat bottom, so I don't need to have a hook link that's going to follow the contours of the lake. This can sit nice and straight, and what that means is when the lead lands, it'll push away from the lead nicely. So I can use the stiff one because I'm confident I'm fishing on a really flat bottom. So take about 12 inches of that off, and just with the 3-in-1 stripper tool, I'm just going to take about 5 inches off. Now when you're using these stripper tools, what I found is if you try and do a really big section, it gets really tight and you end up damaging your braid. So what I like to do is just do it in short little sections and work your way down the hook link, just gently stripping it off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a size 6 curve shank, so just through the eye of the hook and just whip that round 5 times and once back over the top, and bring the tag end back through the hook. Now the bit that's trailing, I'm going to snip that off because we don't need that. I'm going to be attaching my hook bait in a different way. So that's that tied on there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a medium kicker, and I'm just going to slide that over the back of the hook link up to the point of where my whipping has finished, and that just gives me a real aggressive angle as the hook turns. Now onto my bait attachment, I'm going to get a bait screw. Now these are the metal ones, and the reason I'm using the metal ones on this rig is because, like I said before, I don't want it to really pop up. I'm fishing on a really hard, clean bottom, and I think you always get a better chance of a pickup if the bait sits more naturally to the free offerings. So because I'm using a metal bait screw, that's putting a little bit more weight to the hook end, and it's just allowing that pop-up to sit just above the hook, but the hook will sit flush on the lake bed, and that's exactly what I want. Next, all I have to do is pop on a tiny hook bead and spin that round. Now, what I've found with this type of hook bait attachment is sometimes when you're casting, your hook bait hits the water, it can slide that bead round, and the bead can actually sit on the top of the hook, so right in the crown of the curve. I've found that that leads to drop fish. I've done it a few times in the past where I've brought the rig back, I've dropped a fish and the bead has slid round, so I like to lock it in place. So there's many ways you can do it. I use super glue, sometimes just lock the bead in with super glue, but in this instance, all I'm going to do is get half a piece of rig foam and lock it in place with that, wet it and stick it in, pinch it really hard with my thumb and forefinger, and that'll hold it in place for the cast. I'm also going to attach a little bit of a PVA bag to that, just a tiny PVA bag. So that's my hook link kind of done. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hook rigger on just to pin it down, and an anti-tangle sleeve on the back, which I'm sure you've all seen before. So that is my completed hook link for this trip, and that's kind of like a method of using a 10mm hook bait but keeping it pinned down on the deck, just how I wanted to fish. Right, well, I moved them 2 long rods into the middle of the lake. I said earlier I'd seen a little bit of fizzing on one shore, and the left-hander has absolutely screamed. Now, I know you shouldn't say it, but this does feel like a better fish. It's actually gone into Rick's swim. It's shot down the lake, and yeah, it's got a lot more power than the fish I had last night, so hopefully we'll get him in so you can see him. So he's under the rod tips. Haven't seen him yet, but he's moving a bit of water. Certainly feels like a better fish. He's a common. Just get round that other rod. So this was on a tiny bag with the 8mm and some of them mini pellets and just a few catapults for them 8mm. He's putting up a really good fight. He don't want to come in. It's quite hard playing fish here with this overhanging tree. I don't get a lot of room. He's actually not that big, but he's a really powerful fish. He does not want to come in. He does now. A bit unorthodox, but he's in the net. One of the things that Rick and I have learnt doing this What Would You Do series is that we're fishing out of our comfort zone in a way, because we're using products that we probably wouldn't use for this style of venues. You know, I would have never have thought to bring 8mm baits. It's not something I've really done. I'm normally a 15-stroke, 18mm guy. And it just goes to show that, you know, doing something a little bit different can get you results, and, you know, and adapting the way you fish and your rigs, like I spoke about earlier. I've never fished a 10mm pop-up on the bottom at all, but it just goes to show that if you put a bit of time into it and a bit of thought into what you're doing, you know, we've managed to make those boxes work for us on the 3 venues that we've been to, and yeah, this was just a PVA bag cast to a bit of a fizzer and a single show. I saw 1 show there this morning, a little bit of fizzing, and yeah, it's got me another bite. Again, not one of the big fish. We really want to get one of the big ones before we go, but we've got another night. You know, Rick's adjusted his rod, so hopefully Rick can get into them tonight, and Alex is he's seen the big common twice this afternoon, so he's trying to stalk that one out the margins. He's doing the best he can, so yeah, it's all on for the final night, and let's hope we can get one of the bigger fish from this venue.
One of the rods that I've been messing about with, casting to some of the showing fizzing, I've actually moved to a bush just down there to the right, and yeah, it's probably been down there about half an hour, and it's gone off, taking me all the way out into the middle of the lake. It looks like a decent mirror, so yeah, let's hopefully get it in. Gotcha. Get in there. Out of nowhere when I thought nothing was happening, and I managed to land a nice mirror, so let's have a look at it. Oh dear. That's it. Take that away. Here we go. Right. Well, there you go, look at him. I'd probably say 15 pound, but the scale pattern on this carp is absolutely mega. Like I say, in my swim today, it's been really, really quiet, so I've just been experimenting really, casting to show him fizzing, etc. And yeah, I'd baited a spot just down to the right of my swim yesterday with some S7 boilie, like both whole and crumbed up, in anticipation of potentially fishing it if nothing happened on the spots that I chose last night, and that's exactly what happened. I ended up putting my right rod down there on a little S7 wafter, and yeah, within 20 minutes of it being down there, I've managed this one. And just after I landed this one, I hooked into another fish on the other side of the lake, which is my furthest rod. Well, talking about going from zero action to absolute carnage, I mean, again, I've just landed that mirror and I've just lost that fish. Oh no. No! Oh, the joys of carp fishing. Well, we better put that one back out, better we? You can't win them all, and I guess I can just admire this one for now and hopefully get stuck into another one before tomorrow. But yeah, wicked carp, really, really pleased with this. Okay, well, let's get this one back and not get stung, hopefully. Ah. Oh dear. Go on, mate. Lovely.
So yeah, it's just going dark, and just out the blue, I think it was the middle rod, because I sort of wiped out one of them as I was picking it up. It's rattled off. That little mix that I showed you earlier on, sort of cheating the system, so to speak. hopefully we can get it in, and it's another fish for the film. She's in. Happy days. Ah, happy days. Well, happy with that. So yeah, it's been a very frustrating day to say the least for me off the top. They've just evaded me completely all day long. I had a couple feed in, but that was about it. Yeah, and they just wouldn't take my hook bait. Smashed out 3 solid bags with yeah, the candy sticks and the red mist, and just going dark now, and this little one rattled off. We are hoping, all 3 of us, that we managed to catch one of the bigger ones, but yeah, if this is the last fish to me, I am more than happy.
Okay, so we just had our tea, and as you can see, the darkness is coming on our second night here. Yeah, productive day really. I had a bite round about dinner time, something like that, just chucked a couple of bags onto fizzers, and then your swim went a bit mental for about half an hour, didn't it? It just went all mad. Yeah,
I had 2 bites, lost one unfortunately, which I think was the bigger of the 2 fish. But the one I landed was really nice, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a stunning fish, wasn't it?
Probably about 18 pounds, but a really, really stunning mirror, to be fair. I was really pleased. The first mirror I've caught in months as well, so yeah, it was nice to have a bit of a change up. Yeah. And then you've been working hard today, mate, haven't you, to be fair?
I haven't stopped, have I, really, to be honest. So from about 10:30 till 5 o'clock, I've just been chasing them sort of up and down the lake, firing floaters at them. I had a couple feeding, but then they take 1 and 2 and then just do one. Ended up in your swim trying to nick them, didn't I? And I actually had the big common, sort of literally 6 inches from the bank. I had a floater on top of its head, did a couple of circles and just wallowed off. So yeah, a very tiring day for me, but yeah, successful one in the end.
Yeah, you got one in the end, didn't you?
Yeah.
Just as the sun was starting to go behind the trees, and you had a bit of a, was it your middle rod?
Yeah, middle rod, sort of lifted up. I think I wiped out my right hand rod as I was lifting it up, and yeah, a little common, so.
Yeah, so you're fishing bags on the bottom now with the cloud mix, aren't you? So all 3 rods have now gone, because you caught one yesterday on it, you've now put all 3 onto that
all
method,
3, all 3 on solid bags, just along the far margin, and one just flicked out to my left there.
So nice, so we just done your pictures, and then my middle rod decided to have a go, and I've just put it in the retention sling, and I've just weighed it. It's actually 21 pounds, so it's the first 20 pounder of the trip. We've been trying to get through these smaller ones into the big ones, because there's some absolutely lovely fish in here, and yeah, it's 21 pounds. So, well, we've just finished filming Alex's fish, and my middle rod has gone into meltdown, so I've shot across. Actually, it's not a bad fish. It's maybe slightly better than what I thought. Just turned then and I saw his flank, and he looks like a mirror. He's not a bad one. Well, there you go. We've waited about 3 hours for a bite. Alex gets a screamer and then I get a screamer. We'll get across to my swim now, we'll get him out, and we'll show you that fish.
Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, man. So there's an old saying, be careful what you ask for. You know, we wanted some of the better fish out of here, and we've just had like an hour of carnage. Alex had a fish, and then I had this one, which is 21 pound, and then Alex's rod stormed off again, literally as I'd netted this one. He had to scream off and get that run. And that fish that Alex has looks like a good one as well. That looks like another 20 pounder. So yeah, we've had, just on dark, we've just had carnage. So this is my biggest fish of the trip. So this is 21 pound. It's a lovely mirror. And yeah, really nice, pretty clean fish. Look at that. Again on the middle rod, on the green tree rod. I don't know what it is there. There's a rod, 2 rod lengths down the bank to it, and that one hasn't done anything, but this one goes, and the drop feels exactly the same. You know, it's a real hard drop. There's no weed there, it's a clean spot, but why this rod keeps going must be some natural food there, or for whatever reason it is. It's the green tree is the one that's done the damage for me. I think this is my 5th fish off that spot, or 4th fish off that spot now. So yeah, happy days. We'll get this fish popped back. We'll go back to Alex's swim and have a look at the fish that he's just landed.
Don't all fight in this lake. For the size of the fish, they're like absolute pound for pound kings, they are. We got it nearly. Go on. That is definitely the biggest one of the session for me. Let's have a look at her. Yeah, she's definitely the biggest one of the session for me. She's either an upper double, but she could scrape 20. Yeah, we'll see when we get her out. So yeah, the biggest one of the session so far at £22. Now this one is one of the originals, and it's one that none of us recognise at all. Absolutely stunning little fish. Yeah, loads of cool little colours on her. Yeah, and a few little scales obviously there. Now it just goes to show with these sort of videos where you've got to choose a box, it's all about sort of being adaptable to that particular box, and the solid bags are working this session. So the moon tonight as well is absolutely stunning. Yeah, it's a full moon, so yeah, the old saying goes, obviously the big commons come out on the full moon, but it seems to be for this time the 2 biggest mirrors have come out on that moon. So yeah, you never know, the big common could come out tonight.
Right, so the green tree rod did me a bite round about midnight, which was £18, nice little mirror. And the blue bag rod, which hasn't done me a fish yet, rattled off this morning with a really, really pretty £22 common. Look at that. We're going to call him Little Fins because he's got all his fins are dead little. So that's what we're going to call him if he hasn't already got a name. So yeah, this might be the last fish of this trip because it's about 8:30 going on to 9 o'clock now, and we're going to start getting ready to pack up because we have to be off the lake for 12 o'clock. So if it's the last fish of the trip, then it's a really nice fish to end on. So yeah, we'll start slowly packing our gear down and see what the rest of the morning does for us. And if this is the last one, then so be it. What a mega trip. So Littlefin, as we now call him, may well be the last fish of this trip. We don't know, we'll see. We've got a couple of hours while we're slowly packing our gear down. So, like I said before, if he is the last fish, then he's a lovely fish to finish on. What a real character, and an end to what's been a fantastic trip down at Buzzard Valley.
Right, well, we was just wrapping up Vin's awesome common, and we all thought that was probably going to be the last fish of the trip because it's coming to an end of this session, but my middle rod, which I moved this morning over to some showing fizzing, has melted off whilst we was doing the filming. And I've got a chance to get our second one in the net. It looks like a linear. Well, I'm really pleased about that because there was a load of fizzing out in front of me this morning. Me and Alex were watching the water and I was saying to him, it gets a little bit frustrating when you can see them sort of showing over you and you don't have a bite, but luckily enough, I've hooked into one. Let's have a look at it. Well, check him out. A proper cool linear. I'd say scraper 20 really, but look at him. Wicked carp that. Really, really happy to be fair. Like I say, put that rod over some showing fizzing early this morning, just after first light, and a couple of hours later, it's melted off whilst we was filming with Vinny's common. So yeah, you never know, there's about an hour or two left of the session. Could be the last one, I reckon. We said this with Vinny's one, but you never know, they're still out there and that fizzing is still occurring. So I've put the rod back out on the spot in hope of one final fish. But if I don't have one, I've had two cracking mirrors this session. Really, really pleased.
So that is the end of the session. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I think for me, bag fishing wise, was the one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sort of made the wrong choice at the start, but yeah, utilising those ingredients. I'm definitely going to be using those crayfish, yeah, the candy sticks again in my solid bags. I think they just look like a pellet, really.
Yeah,
Have you guys enjoyed your time down here? Because it's your
definitely.
first time, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah, it's been nice little lake. Some nice fish in the end, didn't we? We got, you know, we said at the end of day one, we've done all right, we've had a few fish, but we'd like to get one of the better ones, and I think we got, there's probably 3 20s, maybe 4 20s in the end, wasn't there, something like that? So none of the real big ones, but you know, 20-pound fish is still, I'm from up north, so a 20-pounder is still a big fish, so yeah.
It is.
I was going to say, yeah, 20-pounder for me is not a big fish,
no.
being down in Essex.
In Essex.
But I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
the 2 carp that I managed to land were really, really nice fish.
Yeah, you've done good, didn't you?
I've been a little bit shy of mirrors lately, but on this session I had 2 back-to-back mirrors, which I've been really pleased with. So
each fish has been unique, hasn't it?
They have, yeah. There's some wicked carp in the lake, and you showed me
linear.
some pictures as well, didn't you?
Yeah, there's some
Had the linear, little scales,
Yeah.
And that one of yours was, you and the bailiff didn't recognise it, did
never
you?
ever seen that fish before, and you can tell it's been caught a few
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a lovely fish, so well happy to get that one.
So,
and the little fins one is just an absolute stunning fish.
Lovely little fish.
Yeah, it's a lovely common, that chestnut brown sort of colours.
So that is a wrap on this film and this series. So,
Oh, is it?
yeah.
Oh, I thought we was out again.
No, not with this one, no.
Oh, right, okay.
This is the finale. So if you haven't seen one of the What Would You Do series before, at the end of the film, we'd like to ask for your input. So you've seen the footage that we've done of the lake, you've got an idea of what we had in front of us, you saw the boxes and you saw the boxes that we chose. What would you have done? Would you have gone for the options that we did? Would you have done the risky one, what Alex did? Would you have gone surface, upper layers?
Saved by the cloud mix.
Saved by the cloud mix. So in the comments below, put your comments in. What would you have done? How would you have fished it? Do you think we did okay, or do you think you would have done it differently? It'd be really interesting to see what your thoughts are on how we fished the session.